How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bochum Career Mode. This is going to be episode 11. I'm going to kick off today's episode by going into a game against Stuttgart, one of the best defences in the league and possibly one of the best teams in the league, really. They're up there, they've just been relegated from the previous season. They've got some very good players in their team, so we would have to have our wits about us to defend properly and to actually take our chances when we get them. As you can see, we are playing Kim Jin-yar at right back. He can play there, and over time I think I'm slowly going to transition him into a right back. Possibly next season he will become our starting right back, as he's definitely got the stats to play there and is much better there. I think over the few games that I've had him in right back, he's played very well. Coming into this game though, sadly we didn't start off particularly well, as the Stuttgart striker goes ahead and chips that over Ryman, and it makes it 1-0 to the German side. They were away from home as well, so this wasn't looking so good. Luckily we did have a couple of chances, just couldn't take them. Lee Chung-young putting the ball into Robert Tesche, and we've seen him score them before, and sadly he couldn't put it in the back of the net this time. Unfortunately, Stuttgart were just playing so much better than us here, and Gonzalez managed to break into the box, poor defending, and Didavi slots in a nice easy goal. And Stuttgart have beaten us twice today, just after the 41st minute, and it wasn't looking, at this point it was looking really, really bad. Like, I was just trying to calm down the defence, maybe just get us into half-time, make a couple of changes, maybe a formation change, and try not to concede anything more before we can see like 17 goals. Unfortunately, we did actually have one final chance to defend. Waman Tuka causing Danilo Suarez so many issues down that left-hand side, and well, we couldn't just stop that. That was a really good cross in, and Gonzalez gets the goal he deserves in this game, really. He'd been pulling the strings up front for most of the game, and he manages to put in a good volley into the bottom corner and beating Ryman. And I just couldn't defend against them. They didn't have many chances, but this is the quality that Stuttgart had. They could just finish the chances that they had, even though they didn't have many chances. And from that replay, it was clearly a good goal. And going into half-time, look at their stats, pretty abysmal. We weren't poor in terms of the chances, just really poor in terms of our composure and finishing. And one man that needs to improve was Musa Kone. He breaks through and he does score. He scored one of those a little bit similar against Hoffenheim. I mean, it was more smashed and not placed like that one, but he did score across the goalkeeper, and this time he scores again, putting us back in the game at this point, but it just wasn't looking great. I mean, even though we'd scored one, we were still looking very poor, and Stuttgart took a shot there, hitting the bar, and we just decided to give them another chance there. Mario Gomez goes ahead and slots home the fourth goal for Stuttgart, and that put the game well and truly out of sight. And yeah, it's another one of those goals. I need to work on my passing out from goal. I've conceded a few too many of those, not just in this career mode, in a couple of other career modes I've had. And it just wasn't looking good for us, and I just wanted this game to end at this point. It was 4-1, and this is all that Stuttgart were doing, passing it round us. They were playing really well, getting really frustrated. Insua, no stamina, puts it into Mario Gomez, who passes it across. Ryman parries it in to the player there, and well, Gonzalez completes his brace and gets a second goal in this game, and that was how the game ended. My God, was I glad to hear the final whistle. What a horrific game of football that was. 5 goals conceded at home. We were playing so poorly. Only one shot on target, and that is the goal. We need to work on our shooting. That was absolutely horrific. A horrific display by the whole team. I'd even taken Gonvula off. He wasn't having a good game. He wasn't holding the ball up well. He wasn't passing the ball well. I took him off and replaced him with a right midfielder. That's the level of poor play that everyone was having. Kim Jin-yar came to us and said thanks for playing us. He actually had an okay game in right back. He was able to keep up on that right hand side with their left wingers, and it was actually more the left hand side of our team that was having the problems throughout that game. So moving into the next game against Dynamo Dresden, we were hoping for a much better performance, at least not losing 5-1. That was the hope. They play a very unusual formation, quite an attacking formation, 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, and then basically 3 up front, it would appear. And we were just hoping to go out there and actually beat them. A lot of changes to this team. Sweeping changes were made after that game. Didn't change the front 3. I thought they were actually not that bad, although Gonvula had an unusually poor game. We were definitely looking to just get him back in form and get him scoring. We did manage to score first in this game. Sadly, it was ruled out due to an offside. And then we did get another chance here with Robert Tescher, just outside the box, takes the shot, and he just didn't score that one, sadly. Again, maybe should have moved a bit closer to the goal. We get a chance just before half-time here, and Gonvula, yes, he does score, and he scores it very nicely. It's a good goal, and it's placed really nicely into the top corner there. No chance for the Dresden goalkeeper. And it's an assist from Tavares. He came in for this game. I think he asked to play, or he was... I think the press said he should be playing or something like that. And I actually took their advice, and he had a pretty good game in this game. He was, at least in the first half, he was fantastic. I think his pace and his sort of strength was really difficult to deal with by the Dresden defence. We get a chance from the corner, and Dakali plays the ball out wide to Kone, who's just onside, and he puts it into the bottom corner. He started scoring a few more goals now, Musa Kone. Since I started mentioning he'd not scored, he just suddenly started scoring, and he's playing much better. I think he's getting used to that left wing spot much more, and his crossing got better, and his actual shooting seems to have gotten much better. I'm not sure if that's natural growth. I've not been training that stat, but scoring a lot more chances, a lot more crucial goals as well for Kone, and he's actually picking up the shots that he would have missed maybe a few games ago or a few months ago when we'd first picked him up. We were dominating this game, to be honest. Dresden just weren't up for it, and we get another chance here with Robert Tescher, and it was saved by the goalkeeper. They get one chance here as they pick the ball up in midfield. A ball whipped in by the number 7, and it's just put on a plate for Storr, and that makes it 2-1, which did put the pressure on us a little bit. We wanted to close the game out and ensure we didn't lose this lead, and you know, I was a little bit worried at this point. I made a couple of defensive changes. I switched and put on another defender. We went 5 at the back at this point, just because I was so worried about holding on to this win. It was crucial we kept hold of the lead, just because 5-1 at home, I think our fans would have crucified us if we'd let a 2-0 lead slip. But I think they'll be pretty happy as we managed to hold out for the 2-1 win. Obviously towards the end it looked like they were going to get back, but after that goal we sort of smothered them a bit. We stopped them playing out from their defence, and actually we sort of dominated towards the end. The last 10 minutes was very, very comfortable. Didn't do too much, and as I said, we changed formation, which probably helped us smother them a bit into their own half, and they weren't able to pass it out and continue playing. So a loss and a win from this episode, I suppose, good and bad. As you can see, we get another scout report. Other spoiler, we get absolutely nobody back, really. Nobody looks good, so I think in a couple of episodes time I was sick and tired of getting really awful players back from my scout reports, which obviously I'm not expecting like world class players each time, but we decided to go ahead and get another scout, and he goes and scouts France, I believe, or an area that's around where the club's from, just because I want to keep it sort of homegrown, as we are still technically in the second league, but hopefully we can maybe push towards the upper echelons, maybe third or fourth. If we could finish in the top half of the table, I think I'll be happy with this season. Considering we're still losing to Stuttgart 5-1, maybe we're not ready to go into the Bundesliga just yet. But we will go into the final game of today's episode, and as you can see, fielding a much more stronger side, and it is going to be against Sandhausen, who I believe we did beat last time out. I could be wrong on that, but they haven't got the strongest team. I think I said this last time. They've got a much weaker side to us. One player up top to look out for is Behrens. I do believe he'd scored quite a few in the run-up to this game. We did start the game off very well as Shipnowski takes a shot, and it's a shot well saved by the goalkeeper. Gonvula doing his hold-up play very well there. Gets it into Lee Chung-Young, who puts it into Robert Tesch, and finally his long shot does prove to be a good choice, as that is an absolute banger. Placed right into the top corner, nobody's stopping that, and Robert Tesch still has it at 32 years old. My God, what a goal that was. I couldn't believe he'd scored it. And can I just also reiterate, he is decreasing in stats. When you look at this angle, how can you tell me this man is decreasing in stats? It's just madness. I mean, he plays so much better than his stats actually stay, and all I can say is I just hope he doesn't decrease too much by the end of the season, because I can guarantee the dynamic potential should at least keep him at whatever rating he's at the end of the season for one more season at least. But we do cause a few problems for ourselves in the second half as we kicked off. Sandhausen were putting a bit of pressure on us. I don't know what the manager said, but it definitely worked, as they were just putting pressure on Danilo there, who loses possession, and it's an easy ball played in to the striker in the centre of the box, and Behrens nets another goal for his season. I can't remember how many he was on at this point. I think it was in the double figures for him, or something close to that at this point. But yeah, we were having to watch out for Behrens. Luckily, we do have some quality strikers of our own. Musa Kone breaking down the left-hand side, placing the ball in nicely for Shipnowski, and he couldn't miss from there. And he makes it, I think it's something like his 6th goal this season, or his 5th goal this season. Shipnowski has started scoring a few more goals as well this season, which is quite nice to see. I do like it when all of the teams start contributing for goals, because I don't always like it to have all of our goals in one player, and I much prefer to have, it's spread out. Obviously, Gonvula is the main goal scorer in this team, which is fine, but when players like Shipnowski, Kone, even Lee Chung Young are popping up, with 5, 6, 7 goals in the season, it really does help us move further up the table. And as you can see, Gonvula still gets his goal in this game. He doesn't stop scoring, this man, and he takes it. I can't remember what his goal tally was at this point, but it was still pretty high, and I believe he was a top scorer in the league after this game. Having another decent game. His hold-up play in this one was fantastic, and no goalkeeper saving that one. It was hit with such power that I think there was no chance of him even getting his hands to that. Sandhausen did scare us again as we conceded another late goal to the opposition, and this was poor on my hand. Poor defending from me. Shouldn't have brought Dakali out there. I was a bit sad that he didn't actually win the ball, but really poor defending from me, and yeah, we sadly conceded there to make it a little bit tense. It wasn't that tense though. We did have a couple of other chances, and this was one chance we had. Janelt taking the shot, and it was nicely saved by the Sandhausen goalkeeper, and that was how the game finished. To be honest, they had a couple of chances towards the end, but again, it was another game where I think we dominated, and the scoreline was a little bit too nice to actually how they played. As you can see, similar shots, but a lot of their shots were off target and weren't really in key areas where they were going to score. So all in all, it wasn't a bad game. I think actually we deserved to win the game by a few more goals, or at least by a wider margin at least. But that is going to be the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed watching. Do leave a like if you are enjoying this series so far. Feel free to leave some suggestions in the comments for players we should sign in the next season. But that'll be all for now, so thank you for watching, and goodbye.